What's up, everyone? I am Tim Oates on bass, and before I start my workday, my day job, I decided I need to check out this new Chevelle album. So Chevelle just dropped its brand new album, which I think is pronounced Niratias, but I could be wrong. Regardless, there's 13 tracks of goodness that I'm looking to dive into, because I've heard this one's heavy. So if you've never seen one of these before, it's designed to follow along with. So you'll see title cards pop up when I go to listen to each track. That's your cue to pause this video, pull up the song, listen to it, and then unpause, and you can hear my thoughts, and it's like we're reviewing it together. Gonna dive right into the first one, which is VERRUCKT. Ballsy move starting with an instrumental. Was not expecting that. Super chuggy bass. Definitely some sort of drop tuning. That was pretty low. It's definitely a cool song. I mean, it's a mood setter. That did not sound like an intro track. That sounded like a full-on instrumental, which normally you would throw like in the middle or even towards the end of an album. I'll be honest, I don't know that I've actually ever listened to a Chevelle album front to back, so if that's kind of a normal thing for them, let me know. But I'm going to move on to the next one, which is So Long, Mother Earth. All right, So Long, Mother Earth. That was a cool song. It definitely kept up the heavy trend. The pre-chorus and the chorus I thought were really cool. Kind of, it was still heavy, but they backed off the... trying to make it sound heavy in those sections and just made it very big sounding. I found myself always looking forward to that section of the song. There's lots of guitar layering, and listening under the headphones, definitely noticed that. One of the things that I've always found great about Chevelle is seeing them live. For being a three-piece, they just tend to do a great job of filling up the sound. I'm curious how they're going to pull off all of this layering when they start playing live again. Maybe they just play to tracks. I'm actually not sure. But regardless, I'm still going to look forward to seeing them when they play live. And track's great. I'm going to call this a great opening track, even though it's not the first track. It's the first song with lyrics. So kind of throwing me off on this, but whatever. Okay. The next one is Mars Simula. Okay, Mars Simula, another really good track. I will say the first few songs on this album definitely holding up to the heavier vibe that they were saying. It kind of feels like it's kicking in the chest just right out of the gate. It feels like the bass is distorted a little more than usual. I know that in Chevelle the bass is usually always a little bit distorted, being a three-piece. That's a very common technique to kind of help fill up the sound. But it definitely sounds like there's a little bit extra distortion in the bass, just, especially when you kind of hear it riding on its own when the guitar was dropped a little bit. I really dug the bridge or solo, whatever you want to call it, in this song. I thought it was very cool. All right, next track is Sleep the Deep. All right, Sleep the Deep. This is a transition track, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It's interesting. It kind of sounds like something you might hear like in a suspenseful TV show or something. Kind of just feeling like a clock ticking or suspense. I don't know. But it's just a transition track. It's 1:07. But it leads into the next song, which I have heard. I believe this is the only track on the album that I've heard, and it's Self-Destructor. It's been out as a single for a while, so no surprise there. But yeah, so obviously I've heard this song, that's fine. I'm still going to listen to it because it's a hell of a song. All right, so Self-Destructor, like I said, I've heard that song before. It's a good song. I definitely think it fits in with the vibe of like the other singles that they tend to release. When SiriusXM has been playing this song, I'm wondering if they're playing a radio cut, which doesn't sound right to me. Like SiriusXM usually doesn't do that, or at least I don't think they do. So it might just be that there's like parts of the song that I wasn't remembering. The bridge section definitely has like multiple sections within it. And there's one or two parts that I'm like, I don't think I've heard this before. I'm really curious if that's the case. If you know, like, leave it in the comments if that's something Sirius does. I know the next time that I hear this song on Sirius, I'm definitely going to be paying close attention because I'm really curious about that. I'm going to get to the next one, which is Pistol Star. And I just noticed it's got two eyes in pistol, which is weird. Pistol Star, Gravity Heals. All right, Pistol Star, Gravity Heals. You know, I was not feeling that song. Kind of starts off with this like single note guitar riff, very staccato and kind of spaced out, and then it just keeps that up into the verse when the full band comes in and the sound fills up. But it's a theme throughout the song. I think that line I just wasn't feeling, and the fact that it kind of existed through the whole song made me, not the biggest fan of the song. And then the other thing too is when the lyrics, specifically the Gravity Heals part of the lyrics comes in, that's kind of during the bridge and during the outro. That just didn't speak to me at all. So far, the album is really good. This is just the only one that, it's like, not so much. All right, let's get to the next one, which is Wormhole? Oh, it's only 20 seconds. So clearly this is a transition track. I mean, this literally could have been tacked on to the end of the last song. We'll just roll right into the next song, which is Peach. All right, Peach. I dug that track. It's a kind of a different type of arrangement. They really play with the use of space in the song, which I thought was really cool. It kind of flirts with heaviness. Like, it's still like there's definitely heavier parts, but it's not that full like kick you in the chest type heaviness. The solo and bridge section just. There's nothing like I can put my finger on, but there's something about it that I really liked. So it's probably more like the riff choices and, the way it was layered together, things like that. And right after that section, that playing with space motif, they really, I mean, they full on like pull the music and, it's just really cool. I really dig the way that they used the concept of less is more in music to kind of drive home the feeling of that song. Next is Test Enough. So that was another transition track. It was only 2 minutes long. Very different than the other transition track they had on here. This one was a single guitar with some vocals. Lots of playing around with the sound of both the guitar and the vocals, lots of effects. Sounded like there was like heavy delay on the guitar and heavy reverb on the vocals for sure. So it kind of gave you that repeating, echoey effect throughout the whole thing. It's cool, but it's, to me, it definitely felt more like a transition track. So, all right, we'll just roll right to the next one, which is Endlessly. All right, that was a really cool song. Opened up softer, and the song itself, it's funny because it almost sounded like an acoustic song. I mean, it clearly wasn't, but it had that vibe, throughout, but, definitely more emotional and on the softer side. They did this cool thing where they had this combination of clean guitar and distorted bass. And honestly, the bass may not have even been distorted because it felt like the bass had less distortion than the rest of the album. But what it might just be is just the style of playing. For those that aren't bass players, like sometimes just playing really heavy on the strings will give a natural distortion sound. And it could have just been that. Regardless, it created a little bit of distortion, whether it was you know, through the playing or through an actual effect pedal. That was really cool. So yeah, I dig that one. All right, what's next? Next up is Remember When. Okay, Remember When. It was a really cool song. I do think that was another single that I hadn't heard. I really try not to listen to anything ahead of time. It's just usually there's like at least one song that is really difficult to not hear just because it's released so far before the album and it's played in heavy rotation, things like that. But yeah, I did not hear that song previously. Really cool song though. I really enjoyed it. Very melodic. The use of the instruments, I like the way that they did that. There was it was kind of more guitar forward. The bass was kind of picking its moments where it steps out, and you could kind of hear it, you know, in and out, which was cool because it let it be guitar forward, but the bass wasn't completely forgotten about. And when the bass did come in, it was for a specific purpose, had impact in the song. Some great vocal lines in there. Yeah, I thought that song was really, really cool. All right, we got two more. Next up is Ghost and Razor. Okay, Ghost and Razor. Definitely getting heavier again. That was a cool song. It kind of starts off with like a single guitar riff, but then very quickly just kicks you right in the chest. The bass line really drives that song. It's the kind of line that just makes your head bounce. Honestly, that song, I found myself just at parts doing stank face. Just, ugh. Some really, really cool use of synth, especially in certain parts. Like, it's very subtle, but you can kind of hear just a little bit of synth coming in and just adding to the layering effect. And then the ending, I also really enjoyed. It's a longer song. It's pushing 6 minutes. And the last minute 20, something like that, they really kind of open up the sound. And then they start playing with some alternate riff choices, especially in the bass. And it kind of makes that part almost feel like a turnaround. Because it's like, oh, like you're changing it up and like, you know, kind of opening it up a little bit, and it's like something's going to happen. So I wonder if that's kind of setting it up for the last song on the album, which we're going to get to right now. This is Lost in Digital Woods. All right, Lost in Digital Woods. So it was an outro track. That's fine. I'm not going to say too much about it. Keyboard, spoken word, had a false ending, but you know, it's an outro track. So the last song would have been Ghost and Razor, which is a really good song to end on. All in all, I thought this album was fantastic. Some really, really good songs. In fact, there was only one I think that I didn't particularly enjoy myself. So that's always a good sign, because it's hard to find an album where every song is a winner. And to just have one that I really didn't like, I think it's fantastic. Definitely go check it out. Lots more album reviews planned coming up. 2021 is kind of a big year for music. I mean, there's just a lot of albums coming up that I'm really excited about. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell. That's how you get notified when I drop new videos. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Drop some comments. Let me know your thoughts on the new Chevelle album, Niratias. You keep making beautiful music, and I will see you in the next one.